Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to When the Shift Hits the Fan. It's Mark Jeffrey here with my awesome co-host, Linda Lehman, and this is our finale episode of our season. It's been a great year, and we've got some things that we want to talk about tonight that I think it accumulates, I think, a lot of the things that we've said in many of our shows leading up to this. And we wanted to talk about the habits of successful people and as always, kind of maybe drift here and there to things that we always do. So it's just who we are. So we kind of thought of a couple of things here for you. It's like, and we went back in time, and the first thing we thought of is starting with the end in mind. And I really, from my perspective, Linda, I think that a lot of people, no matter what they're doing, they start off and just go, right? They just start, and they really don't have any idea of what the outcome is that they want. And I mean, give an example for, you get a disease, and we'll talk about cancer because that came home to roost at our places. So you find out that you have cancer, and then you go to the doctor, and you are told that this is going to be your treatment, and they never ever, in that particular case, they really don't tell you your chances of survival at that point in time. I mean, that's your objective, right? I want to survive this. I don't want to die. But it's kind of like a really strange way. I know I found it very strange because I'm not used to thinking like that. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take on this project, and this is what I want to have happen, and these are steps I'm going to take. But at that particular time, it was really, I felt, until I grasped a handle on things, that I was out of control. Like I didn't have control of the situation. So I was really totally out of my element. Linda, I don't know, if you really felt like that. I know you did at first, right? Same as me. You kind of didn't really know. It kind of takes you by surprise. And you didn't actually make a move for a while because of that, right?
Oh, yeah, Mark. I mean, at first I knew something was there and something was wrong, and I kind of put it off, thinking that it would go away or get better. And then when I finally got the diagnosis, this is an interesting point. We could get into a long discussion, and we won't tonight, but we can get into a long discussion about, healthcare in general. I know that they always have our best interest at heart, but you are so right, because they come in and they say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this treatment, we're going to do that treatment, we're going to do these tests and those tests. And then even if you are a stable person where you're kind of thinking about the end in mind, sometimes that can throw you off your game, because all of a sudden you're being presented with these experts who you think you should trust, and all of a sudden you're realizing that the end that they have in mind, or actually it's kind of the middle, doesn't really correlate with what you have in mind, and you have to kind of step back. But realistically, Mark, it's all about taking back our control. Yeah, I was thrown for a loop, just as you were, because what they were telling me was not what I had in mind to listen to. It wasn't what my vision of how that encounter was going to go. And so I had to take a step back, as you did. You had to take a bigger step back, I think. But regardless of that, we're both faced with the same thing. We have this big, what people view as very scary diagnosis, and now it's been dropped in our lap, and we're given all of these ideas for tests and treatments, but nobody's given us the, okay, well, you're saying this and this and this for the test and treatment. Now what's the outcome? And I realized, Mark, and I know you did too, that ourselves needed to take control of the outcome that we wanted to have.
Exactly. Because you're right, they don't give it to you. I mean, I guess they can't, right? They can't. They can't. They're not going to give anybody a false sense of the outcome, nor are they going to diminish your hopes. So I mean, they're walking a pretty fine line. And I get that, but certainly didn't help me much. But I think too, Linda, people do that when they start a business online, internet marketing, or even a home business. You start off with all of these big things. These big things like, I'm going to make money, and I'm going to be financially free, I'm going to travel the world. But you have to remember, that's really not an outcome. And I think for me, and this is step one in how do you become successful at anything, you have to clearly know what the outcome is. And it isn't, I'm going to have 1 million shoes in my closet. It's not that. That's the dream, but you have to have a decided outcome. Like, for instance, it can be on this date of June 30th of the year 2015, Linda and I are going to have, 24 shows in the bag and 17,000 viewers. That's an outcome. Okay, we have a specific goal in mind, although that may not be what we are. But
right.
We have a specific goal in mind, right? It's not, we're going to be rich and famous, I'm going to be Oprah.
The rich and famous, the 200 pairs of shoes in the closet, the big house, those are all benefits that could happen from the outcome that you have in mind. The true goal, the true destination that you have in mind.
Yeah. Okay. So the next thing, now we got this clearly defined outcome. All right? We know exactly what it is. And we've actually, we've got some steps built into this as well. We're going to go from here to here. Well, now we have to know how we're going to do that. So let's open ourselves up. Okay, and we say, and you can go back on all of our shows and we talk about this, just open yourself up to the possibilities. And this is where you get to dream a little bit, because you have to become aware. And most people are not. You'll walk right by opportunities because you won't understand what they are. You'll miss the subtle shift inside yourself. Even this, I'll give you a really good example. If somebody comes down with a cold, or the flu or something like that, right? And they will believe something. They will believe you have a cold for a week, I don't know, or you have the flu for 10 days, because and I never get colds or the flu, so I don't even know if those statistics are anywhere near close to what it is. But just pretend with me right now. You will believe that, and you will be sick for that long, because you're not opening yourself up to hearing what your body and your mind are telling you. You've got a preconceived notion, and that's going to stop you in your tracks. That's number 2 on my list, Linda, limiting beliefs.
Oh, absolutely. You started talking about the cold, and Wayne Dyer gives this beautiful example. He talks about this woman in Chicago. And he tells this story about this woman in Chicago was meeting with a friend over the weekend, and the friend had the sniffles. Well, on Monday, the woman in Chicago had the sniffles. And she says, oh, no, I have the sniffles. That means I'm going to have a cold. That means that I have to cancel all of my plans because I'm not going to be able to go into work on Friday.
Yeah.
And sure enough, she's so sick she can't go into work on Friday. Just like she predicted the whole thing.
It is. But here's the cool thing. We talked about this last show. If you can predict that, you can also predict success.
Exactly.
Linda, why do people always believe the worst thing that can happen to them wholeheartedly with every fiber of their being? but do not believe the best things in the world can happen to them. What's up with that? I don't get it.
I don't get it because you know what, Mark? The same energy is involved in either case. And the cool thing is, it's up to us. I mean, I think as humans, we're pre-programmed to believe the worst. But if we would just make that subtle shift and believe the best instead of, you know, what's the worst that can happen, what's the best that can happen, grasp onto that. Get into the feeling of that and believe the best that can happen. Mark, we're both living proof. So when you believe in the best outcome, the best thing that could possibly happen, and don't give any energy to the worst thing that could happen, miracles appear before us every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's my thing. My cold, if I'm going to call it that, or sniffles, I say to me, what I believe is, it's 4 sneezes and I'm done. I mean, that's just what I believe.
I just say, look at it. I say, you know what, little bug? You're wasting your time because my immune system is so powerful, you may as well go visit that woman in Chicago.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, I have that belief. I believe, well, and I know, I don't even believe anymore. I have an absolute knowledge of the fact that I don't get sick. I mean, I just simply don't. Like, again, if I sneeze 3 or 4 times, I'm going, just had a cold. I'm done with it. You know, that's pretty much what I think of things like that. I also, I put the same envelope on, you know, stress and things that bother me. Like today, my Facebook post was, I fell down the rabbit hole again. You know, I just do some ridiculous things in my life, and I just fall down the rabbit hole. Well,
and I laughed at you, by the way.
Yeah, of course. But the coolest thing is when you fall down the rabbit hole, then you meet all these really interesting characters. And yeah, so it wasn't the bad thing, but I do that. But here's the thing, be very acutely aware of what's going on inside of you, inside your body, inside your mind, and around you, because those things are going to matter. So let's trip on here, Linda. Shifting, because we kind of were wandering in that direction here. So we're going to do it right now. Shifting. Yay. Take notice of the feedback that's around you. And I should have put big parentheses and bolded this out. Feedback, not, I'm saying it, bullshit. Okay?
You may as well.
Oh, well. It is what it is, right?
It is.
Sort it out, my friends. What is feedback, real stuff, and what is BS that is not real stuff, a fear, a preconceived notion, a limiting belief? You know, start writing those things out. You know, what are all the things that have me shackled in my life? That's a step here, my friends. Everybody asks us, what are the steps? How do you get there? This is what we do. When something comes up to the door and bangs on the door and we don't want to let it in, we just don't invite it in.
We don't, Mark. And one of the easiest ways to just dispel it immediately is ask the question, is it true? And in order for you to say yes to the question, is it true, then it has to be true 100% of the time, for 100% of the people in 100% of the world and the universe and the galaxies and everything else in between.
Yep.
Is it true? Your answer is going to be, if it's a limiting belief, the answer is going to be no, because it cannot be true 100% of the time, so therefore it's false.
And I know that's going to be tough. Yeah, Linda? It's going to be tough at first because these are limiting beliefs. These are beliefs that you've supported so strongly in your life that you're going to believe it's true. And that's where you have to start asking the questions. And you're going to have to start believing those answers. Otherwise, go back to step 1 and start over again.
Absolutely, and I love what you put here. Take notice of the feedback that you receive from your gut and your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And I traveled down this road the hard way. kicking and screaming the whole way. If you will just tune into your intuition, which is that gut feeling, listen to what it says and follow its guidance, you will not be steered wrong. But we go down rabbit holes and funny curving paths all the time when we say, no, I'm not going to listen to you, I'm going to go this way instead, because what you're telling me doesn't make sense.
Yep. And we have to be careful here. There's a big caution. Should put a big caution sign on this slide. Is that remember that, unwarranted fears. And when you get, that feeling, like, and I will admit to this because I have such a fear of heights, and it's an irrational one. But I've always said this, it's not something that stops me from doing the things in my life that I want to do. I recognize it, I know it's there, and I don't step out on ledges. Now, I don't think in my life that serves me any purpose, so I'm not worried about it. But if there was something in my life where I was not getting to do something I wanted to do because of a stupid fear, man, I've been working on that. And
the gut feeling feels different, Mark.
Yeah.
It feels differently from. This is really tough to explain.
I know. That's what I started. I'm going, how do I tell you the difference between the two? Because we're telling them, don't go that way, and then they're going to, well, I'm afraid. And that's where my gut's telling me to go. No, I don't know.
But if you stop and listen, though, if you really stop and start asking those questions we're asking people to ask, is it true? Why do I believe this? Then the feeling feels different. I mean, you may be afraid, and that might be something maybe in your throat. But if you start saying, I'm going to do this anyway, instead of this gut-wrenching, clenching, double-you-over horrible feeling, even though you might feel this choked feeling in your throat, you're going to feel kind of a relief coming on, a warm feeling, almost an opening feeling coming up in your gut. You got to really, as Mark says, pay attention, be aware of the little differences in those feelings. Does that help?
And they'll find. I think when you can, be flexible enough to understand them, you'll know the difference. Because you're right, Linda. It's like the lightness. You'll start smiling, and ideas will start coming to you. You'll know that's the right path. It's when you've got that weightiness and the fear. It's not. I mean, it could be a lot of things. I mean, I'm not going to discount this. It could be like, run, you're in a dark alley. But but we're talking ordinary, everyday. You're not getting what you want in your relationship, your job, your business, your life. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Ordinary stuff, not running around dark alleys. Okay, let's move on and shift into building that rapport within yourself. Because again, we just kind of wandered over here, talking to yourself, boosting and bolstering your confidence and on all that. And you know what? I don't care what anybody says. People talk about the Kardashians, right? And how ridiculous they are. But have you ever seen, and I mean, they do have their Debbie Downer things, but if you think of it in the essence of that, have you ever seen anybody, and a lot of these reality, the confidence that those people have, to have a camera on them 99.9% of the time, I mean, even in real life, to just go out and be the fat people that they are, or the pimple on the face person that they are, or the, I decided not to put on makeup today person that they are. The level of confidence that someone has to have, as ridiculous as that might seem to most people, to have that kind of confidence is, I think, kind of cool, because in a lot of respects, I don't think I have that level of confidence. I will check my face in the mirror before I go outside. I certainly will.
Yep, I will too. But I also think that, you're right, you can bolster up that confidence. And you can do that as you look in the mirror and doing your little self-talk to yourself.
Exactly.
Look yourself in the eye and say, you are extraordinary. I love you. You're beautiful. You are a confident and successful person. People may scoff at this, Mark.
Well, they think they feel stupid, right? They
Yeah,
feel stupid talking to themselves like that, which is stupid in itself.
Yeah, if you were
Like,
to
why not?
poll the most successful people in the world, you're going to find that they talk to themselves in the mirror. They talk to themselves everywhere all the time, and they answer.
Yeah. Hey, and why wait for a compliment that may never come from someone else when you have the full latitude to compliment yourself and feel good about yourself?
Exactly. Love yourself first. You can't love anybody else anyway until you love yourself. So
yeah, but that's where people run into problems. They go back to our relationship one on this, guys. This is where people run into problems. They expect, and a lot of people do, I expect to get my self-worth from my job or from another person. Whoa.
Yeah,
you're just in for a world of hurt.
Exactly. That self-worth comes from inside, folks. It doesn't come from anybody else but you.
Yeah. So think about those things. Like, think about what it is. How do you feel about the things that you want to achieve? I mean, really feel. Imagine that power and that and the happiness and the joy that's going to be a part of your life when you achieve whatever it is that you've set out to do. And think back to when you were little, because we always tell you don't let the child go away in you. The first time you learned how to tie your shoe and the damn thing stayed tied all day instead of 4 feet away and you tripped over them and fell, that first time. Because those are memories that you can remember. You can't maybe remember when you were a baby and you got up and you fell down and you did a whole bunch of times, but you can remember stuff like that. Or the first time that you were driving a car and it went down the road, it almost seemed like there was a super power around you because it went straight.
Mm-hmm.
You did that. And you can do it again.
The first time you got to drive that car by yourself.
Yeah. Ooh. Wow. Didn't you feel like, wow, look at me. You wished that people were standing on the sidewalk, right? So they could see us.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that feeling, people? Nothing. Nothing. It's great to feel like that. It's great to feel like that. And you know what? When you find, Linda and I balance each other out when I'm having a bad day, or she might be, and I've got friends, she's got friends. Whenever I feel like I'm just losing myself and not centered, I'll ask somebody else for help and say, hey, what do you think about this? Now, I don't always take people's advice because people are not me. Nobody's me. But sometimes you can get a little bit of help from somebody. So somebody you respect, somebody you know has a level head on their shoulder, somebody who's not going to just put you down because they're going to be jealous of you or they don't understand. I mean, pick the right person. Get their opinions too. Because sometimes when you fall down the rabbit hole, for somebody to laugh at you, you realize how ridiculous you are.
Well, plus, if you're asking opinions of people that you trust, Mark, they're going to help you think about things that you hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, exactly, because you're not in a state of excellence. You're not there.
Oh, perfect.
You're not in a state of excellence at that point, right? You're not thinking of this, but if you do all these things, if you're heightening your sensory awareness, planning for that outcome and know what it looks like, talking to yourself onto the right path, keeping yourself centered and strong, and being prepared to shift if you need to shift and shift quickly because you're not afraid of it. That's the whole thing. You can move because you're not afraid and you're not so strict in your beliefs on something that if you're looking up and your gut says, shift left, and you keep going straight, then you're just not listening to yourself. Yeah, so if you're prepared to do all those things, right, you're operating from a total resourceful state. And it's a cool one because I said ideas come to you, right, Linda?
They do come to you, and I love the way you're saying, if you're hearing that voice that says shift left and you walk forward, it's just like we said last week, you're going to get hit by the train.
Yep.
But when you're staying in that power, that belief, that feeling that you are where you want to be, you are the person that you want to be, you start acting as if it's already happened, then you are becoming empowered. And you're visualizing yourself, you're picturing yourself as that person or as that, in that situation, that business, that relationship, that job, whatever it is that you want, you're already feeling those feelings of being there. You're going to open your eyes, and guess what? You've built it on the inside. It's going to come out on the outside now.
Yep. Start thinking like a winner. Start expecting that you are always going to be the one that steps over the finish line first. Expect it. Expect the unexpected, but also expect that you are that winner. You are that person. And, it's not going to happen in a day. It didn't take me a day. It took a big event in my life, because I will totally admit this, and have on many occasions, that I was sitting in a really comfortable comfort zone. I had everything I wanted to. I consider myself would be very lucky, but I wasn't. I worked for everything. I mean, I bought a bankrupt company and made it into something just from sheer will and power, the fact that I thought I could do something, or I wanted to do something. So over and over and over again in my life, I've proved that I could do things, little things, that built up to the day that I was diagnosed with cancer, to where I could say, I got this. I got this. So with all of that, and what we're going to leave you with here tonight is taking action. And what we want you to do over the summer until we come back in the fall with some amazingly good shows that we have planned for you, wickedly good shows. We want you to take action, just small little action steps if that's all you can do, but do it. You have to move forward, because no goal, nothing will happen. Nothing, your dreams, nothing's going to happen unless you take that first step towards it. And it might be a stumble and a fall. You might get scraped and bloody, but like I said, that little thing, husha, husha, we all fall down. We all got back up again. And we have to remember that. We all get back up again. And every time you get back up again, there's more power in your legs. There's more determination in your strut. So, I mean, that's what I want to give you. If I could give you anything in the world, I would give you the confidence to fall down and get right back up again.
Exactly, Mark, and say it's fun.
Yeah.
I love falling down so that I can get back up again.
Yeah. Remove all the crap. All the crap. All those stupid things that are in your head. We all have demons. None of us, no one has no demons in their life. We all have them, but just continue to improve your skills and your performance, getting rid of that every single day. Take a little trash bag out to the trash, throw it on the curb, and don't let it come back. You're going to find that that's how we live the life that we do. That's where my life becomes unlimited, because there's nothing that I don't think that I could ever do if I wanted to. Now, it's not going to say that I'm going to do everything. I'm not going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I have no desire to do that. But the things I do in my life that matter to me, I'm not afraid of them, and I'm going to do them. And my hope is, and my prayers are, for you to be able to do the same. Linda, you always get the last word, my friend. What might it be tonight to end our final show of the summer?
Of this summer, well, Mark, tonight I have a challenge.
Ooh.
I know. I have a challenge for all of our listeners, and I would love, actually I challenge them to email us. Let us know that they are on board with us. my challenge ties into our 6th step, take action. Action step number 1. We talked about it before. We build our world, we build our outcomes from the inside first, and then they appear on the outside. So my challenge to all of our listeners for the rest of the summer, and I want to hear from each and every one of you, and so does Mark. I challenge you to daily spend at least 10 minutes with your eyes closed, relaxed, visualizing, painting the picture on the screen of your mind of the outcome that you see for yourself 1 year from today.
I like it. I like
Me
it.
too. So I am excited to hear from our listeners,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited. We'll make a note. We need to revisit this 1 year from today so that our listeners can tell us, I did it, because I know
Exactly.
they will.
That's going to be the most exciting thing. Or even 6 months down the road,
Yes.
their yearly goal came into fruition. This is going to be fun. Yeah, get in this, you guys, and do it, because you know what? Only the best things that can happen. So
Right.
I'm in.
Me too. I'm in.
All righty. So I want to say thank you to all of our listeners. It's been an amazing year for us. We're taking a couple of months off, going to be doing some traveling, spending some time in the sun, and refreshing and rejuvenating, and really living the life that we live because we love it so much. And we will be back in September with some new shows. So from here in Canada on this beautiful night tonight, good night, everyone. Have a wonderful summer.
And from down here in steamy, balmy, sunshiny Florida, good night, everyone.